guys. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be recreating this beautiful look right here. I found this look on Pinterest and it was actually an ad for a wig company, so I went to their website and looked at the entire website, all the pictures, everything, and I couldn't find it anywhere. I was trying to find the name of the model or the makeup artist or whoever created this look, and I could not find it. So if any of you all know her name, if you could just, or his or her name, if you could just drop it down below, that would be awesome so I can give him or her some credit in the description. But yeah, funny story, I actually already filmed this yesterday, and of course, like I always do, I wound up going on a tangent about everything under the sun, and the last like 30 seconds of the video was me being like, oh, I primed this and I used this foundation, so I just decided to completely refilm it and make this video a little bit longer so I had some time in the voiceover to list out everything and talk about everything, because I like to explain why I use certain things and like how it's kind of changed my skin based off of what I use and how it affects me and how it might affect other people. So I definitely want to give myself the time to do that. But so yeah, I know with that being said, it would probably make more sense for me just to like do a talk through video, but I don't have a mic yet because we're still in quarantine, or at least I'm still in quarantine. Some states have like completely opened back up. Where I'm at, like restaurants aren't even open yet. So I don't like know what that like means for when we're gonna like open back up. But Best Buy and everything is still closed for me, so I don't really have anywhere to get a mic, so for right now, I'm kind of stuck with voiceovers, but talk-through videos will be coming soon, but for right now, I am going to make this video a little bit longer so I have time to explain, so I hope you guys don't mind that. But yeah, so I hope you guys like this look. I really like the pop of green and the gold in it, and I saw it and thought it would be a nice challenge and something cool to put on my channel. So yeah, I hope you guys like it, and without further ado, on to the video. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to start off by drinking my coffee. Sis had to wake up at the ungodly hour of before 8 a.m. this morning, and so I knew if I wanted to be a functioning human, I had to get some coffee in me, and what better coffee than $2 gas station coffee? If you know, you know, this stuff is no joke. It will keep you awake for the rest of your life. So if anybody has a problem staying awake, my first recommendation is gas station coffee. Okay, so after that is all good and taken care of, I'm going to go in with my moisturizer. I'm using the Ordinary Natural Moisturizing Surface Hydration Formula. This moisturizer honestly is, I think, one of my favorite moisturizers I've ever used. And this is coming from somebody who is oily and acne prone. My whole life, I've been told that the people with the oiliest skin actually have the most dehydrated skin, which if you have super oily skin can honestly be the most annoying thing to hear, along with people saying, oh, if you want good skin, just drink water. It's like, okay, thanks. Like, that's just gonna solve all my life problems, right? No. Basically, the issue that a lot of people who have super oily skin get into is that, of course, they have really oily skin and they want the quick fix, so they just get all these mattifying products and basically dehydrate your skin more. The reason that your skin is so oily is because when it's lacking water and moisture, it overcompensates with oils to keep your skin hydrated. And so the more that you mattify, the more oil and moisture you take away, the oilier your skin's gonna be. So in order to stop that, even if you have oily skin, you need to moisturize. My issue has always been I can only use certain moisturizers because everything breaks me out or burns my skin. I'm always on some sort of acne medication, so I really have to be careful with the products that I buy over the counter. And at my ripe old age of 21 years old, I have realized that a moisturizer that really works for my skin are gel moisturizers. The only thing is, you have to be careful with gel moisturizers for two reasons. One, they can tend to be a little bit more expensive, and I think that's because they're less likely to break people out. So I know like the Neutrogena one is like upwards of like $20, and I'm like, girl, no thanks. And the other issue with those is that because they're so light and they seem like they just go straight into your skin rather than sitting on top of your skin, clogging your pores, they very commonly have alcohol in them, which actually dries your skin, which kind of takes away the whole point of a moisturizer. But yeah, this moisturizer is great. It doesn't have any fragrance. The Ordinary products in general are just really good. So I would highly recommend you trying their line, especially if you are in your teen years or your college years and you're kind of tight on money. They really just get to the point with their skincare, and I really like it. So after I finished prepping my skin with moisturizer, loose powder, my primers, and then my setting spray, I went ahead and moved on to my brows. I went ahead and filled them in with my 2 singular eyeshadows. I've kind of found over the past couple months that I really do like filling my brows in with eyeshadow. I just find that it lasts longer throughout the day. And an issue that I had with brow pencils is not only would they run out every 2 weeks, but I personally always bought mine at the drugstore. And with that, I would find that a lot of my brow pencils would be really waxy, and so I went ahead and tried filling my brows in with powder because a couple of my friends were doing it, and I love it. So, yep, I just went ahead and filled them in with my 2 singular eyeshadows from Maybelline, one in the shade Mocha and then the other in the shade Night Sky to add a little bit of depth. Then after finishing filling in my brows, I went ahead and carved them out with my Milani Conceal and Perfect concealer. So after I applied my concealer, I actually didn't set it with a powder. The eyeshadow look in this picture was very vibrant, and so a way to make your eyeshadow more vibrant is to apply it to a wet base. This worked for this specific palette. If you're using a palette like Juvia's Place or James Charles palettes that their eyeshadows are already so pigmented, I wouldn't recommend doing this because if an eyeshadow is too pigmented, then it becomes really difficult to blend. So just kind of play it by ear. If you're working with shadows that are really buildable and don't have a lot of pigment right off the bat, then I would recommend doing your eyeshadow on a wet base. But if you're working with eyeshadows that already are super pigmented and maybe have an issue staining your eyes afterwards, then definitely set your base. But in this case, I wanted a lot of pigment from shadows that were really buildable, so I went ahead and did not set my concealer. So to start off with, I grabbed my Profusion's Festival palette and I went in with the shade Sunnies under my brow bone. You don't have to be super neat with this. Basically, the look was emerald with gold accents, so the point of this yellow shade was to be everywhere that the green wasn't. And so if there was a part where the green was a little bit thinner or a little bit more see-through, then you would have yellow underneath and it would just kind of tie everything together. So I just threw that under my brow bone, and then I grabbed my Profusion's Emerald palette and I mixed 3 shades. I mixed Juniper, Fern, and Meadow, and just threw that on my crease and lid. And after putting that green color everywhere, I then grabbed a makeup wipe and carved out a little spot on my eyelid so I could add that pop of gold right there in the middle. And I picked up my Profusion's Festival palette and added the shade Headliner. I popped that on the middle of my lid and then a little bit under my brow bone to add a little bit of highlight. And then to add a little bit of depth on my outer corner, I grabbed my Wet n Wild black eyeliner and popped on a tiny wing. Then after finishing my eyeliner, I went in with that same makeup wipe and I just cleaned up the outside edges and a little bit under, just to pick up any loose pigment. And again, this is a reason why if you're doing a super colorful look, personally, I would recommend starting with your eyes, because you can do a colorful look with already having your face makeup on. If you do that, I would recommend putting some loose powder under your eye so you can just sweep it all away and you can have that nice clean canvas back. But that doesn't work for everybody, especially people with really dry skin. They can't just put a whole bunch of loose powder under their eye and then leave it there for 15 to 20 minutes while they do their eyeshadow. It will just completely dry up their under eyes, and your under eyes are already something that need to stay moisturized because the skin is thinner and it becomes dehydrated and wrinkles faster. So all around, I would just recommend doing your eyeshadow first. I really was somebody for the longest time who would always do their face makeup first, and I would not understand how people were able to do their brows and their eye makeup before foundation. I was like, when I put foundation on, I put it everywhere. It's just too stressful to avoid certain areas, but like anything, it takes practice. So when it does come to applying colorful eyeshadow, I would recommend doing your eyes first. So when you're done, then you can go in and clean up anywhere that you need to. So when you go in with foundation, you don't have to worry about mixing your bright green eyeshadow with your foundation. So after that, I just went in with some e.l.f. mascara and popped on my Kiss #1 lashes. And if you're somebody like me who has smaller eyes, I would definitely recommend trimming your eyelashes. I personally was one of those people that was like, I don't have time to trim my eyelashes, whatever, I just make it work, blah, 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 blah. And then I looked crazy for 2 years walking around with eyelashes that were way too big for my eyes, and it just was not a cute look. So please trim your eyelashes and learn from my mistakes. Okay, so after that, onto the face. For my foundation, I am mixing the Milani 2-in-1 Conceal and Perfect Foundation, as well as the Marc Jacobs Remarkable Foundation. For as long as I have been watching makeup tutorials and doing makeup myself, I have always seen the war between people who put their foundation on with their fingers and people who put their foundation on with a brush and a sponge. Everybody is just all up in arms about the right way to do your foundation. So personally, when I hear makeup artists talk about why they massage their foundation into their face, they explain that through the warmth of your hands, it allows the foundation to glide onto the face smoother and just sink into the skin and mix with the natural oils of your face, and it just really allows for a natural yet full coverage finish. So with that, I've kind of taken the best of both worlds, and I begin with clean hands. Of course, you always want to do your skincare and do your makeup with clean hands. So I take my clean hands and I start out by massaging my foundation into my face, and then after I feel like I have successfully gotten it in all the areas where I want that coverage to be, then I go in with my sponge. I can't remember the exact name of this sponge, but this is an e.l.f. sponge, and it's actually I think it's described as a powder blending sponge, and it's different from other sponges because it's kind of, for lack of a better word, fuzzy. And the point of that is so it doesn't soak up a lot of your foundation. Of the issues that people have with sponges is that they find that they either put their foundation directly onto their sponge or they just blend it into their face with the foundation already on there, and they just find that they waste so much foundation because it soaks up too much. And the initial draw to the Beauty Blender was that it left an airbrushed natural finish because that's exactly what a sponge does. It soaks up, but the issue that people were having is that it was soaking up too much foundation. And so I would highly recommend, I will put the name of this exact sponge either in the video or in the description, so you guys will know what I'm talking about. But I've been using this for about a month now, and I would highly recommend. So following that, I just go in with my Maybelline Fit Me Concealer, and I use that to cream bronze. I know a lot of people are scared of cream bronzer and cream contour, so if you are just starting out, or even if you're not, if you just want something good to contour with, I would definitely recommend this. I find that it's super blendable and easy to work with and doesn't dry too fast. I know that can be really frustrating when you have your entire base down and then you feel like your cream contour or bronzer just kind of either messes up the base that you have. I know a lot of the other products that I've used to cream contour have an issue being too waxy, and so I'll go to blend it out and it essentially will, I don't think dissolve is the right word, but it will just pick up my foundation and whatever else I have under it, and we don't want that. So yeah, all around, I really love this product. I think it's great for concealing and it's great for contouring, so I would highly recommend it. And I'm pretty sure it's only like $5 from the drugstore. So definitely go out and get that if you are looking to cream contour, cream bronze, or anything like that. And to give a little bit of depth to my nose, I just went ahead and drew 2 small lines. Of course, this is liquid, so when you blend it out, it's going to spread. So personally, I wouldn't recommend drawing from top to bottom when it comes to contouring and bronzing your nose, but that is what Carly Bible does, and I just haven't been able to master that process yet, so maybe I'll work on that and then I can give you guys a good contour video. But yeah, for right now I just did 2 small lines and then I blended them up and down on my nose to give it a little bit more of a narrow shape, and then I just grabbed my Milani concealer so I could clean up the edges of those lines on the side of my nose. So to bake my T-zone, I went in with the Huda Beauty, what is this, Easy Bake Loose Baking and Setting Powder in the shade Pound Cake. And then for the primers of my face, I went in with the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Matte pressed powder, and I just put that around the primers of my face and then went over certain areas where I baked to eliminate any harsh lines. Now I'm just going in with a big fluffy brush and my Makeup Forever Matte Velvet Skin in the shade 405. It is important to note when using this powder that this actually is a powder foundation, and so unless you wanted more coverage, if you're just using it like me for an added powder for a little bit more warmth, then I would definitely recommend using it with a brush rather than the sponge that it comes with. Following that, I went in with my Wet n Wild, not blush, bronzer in the shade Wet Shady Beaches, and I just went ahead and put that over all the areas that I cream bronzed earlier. So now I'm going in with that same bronzer in a small buffing brush, and I am just going over those cream contour lines that I put down earlier. And to brighten back up part of my under eye and the side of my nose, I'm going to go back in with my NYX HD Pressed Banana Powder. So to contour out some cheekbones, I am going in with the L'Oreal True Match Super Blendable Powder. And this is in the shade Deep Golden. And I was sure to feel out, ow, oh my god, my cat just sinked his claws in me. I made sure to feel out the actual indent that was under my cheekbones so I could, as naturally as possible, accentuate cheekbones. So going back in on my eyes, I'm going to grab my Wet n Wild Multi-Stick Eyeliner. It does not have a, oh wait, yes it does, in green, and I'm going to put that on my waterline, and then after that I'm going to grab those same 3 green shades that were in my Emerald palette, throw it on a pencil brush, and just put it on my what is it, like lower lash line? Yeah, that's the one. And after that I'm going to go ahead and pick up the shade Headliner and put that on the inner part of my bottom lash line. And now I'm going to grab my e.l.f. mascara and put some mascara on my bottom lash line. Now I'm just going to grab some of my Too Faced Do You, what is this called? Translucent Radiant Nude translucent powder. And I'm going to put that on my forehead to emulate that same glow that she had in the picture. And last but certainly not least, I'm going to grab my Wet n Wild Loose Highlighting Powder in the shade Mega Glow, and I'm going to put that on my nose and Cupid's bow and my chin. And then I'm going to grab my NYX lip liner and overline, as well as fill in my lips with the shade Cold Brew, and then in the center, I'm gonna grab my Wet n Wild, let me see the shade, Wet n Wild lipstick in the shade Will You Be With Me? Question mark. And this is the finished look. So from here, I'm just gonna go throw on some gold hoops, slick my hair back, and throw on a little romper to make myself look super put together. And to actually finish this whole look off, I am going to spray my décolleté with some Neutrogena Ultra Sheer Body Mist Sunscreen, and then go in with my Wet n Wild highlighter in the shade. There is no shade, or it's just really old and it's rubbed off. But hopefully you guys can tell by what I showed the camera. But yeah, this is the finished look. Thank you guys so much for those of you watching. I love you guys, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!